I don't know about your machine quilting, but my machine quilting can use some guidance. And I'm doing okay with like basic stipple quilting and kind of zigzaggy lines. But when it comes to a design, I can't really follow that, even if it's marked on my quilt. So I thought I would try some template paper. And I've used template tissue paper in the past, and that just ends up breaking up and turning into a mess. So the other day I was at my local quilt shop and I saw this stuff, which is kind of plastic, and it dissolves in water and you can trace on it. So I thought, well, I'll try that. So I've chosen a design here. What I'm doing is making something that goes in the center here. And so I've chosen this design, and I'm going to do it this way and then reverse it. So I'll have a mirror image going down. So what I'm going to do is take two pieces of this sulky water-soluble stabilizer, and I'm going to draw the design on here, and then I'll place it on my quilt and take it over to my sewing machine and machine quilt it. So the first step is to get some of the plastic and then trace the design. So I'm just going to put it on top of my page here, and I've got this transfer tape is what it's called, and it just peels off, so I can easily put it down on the paper. It'll hold the plastic on there, but when I get ready to take it off, it'll just lift off without ripping the paper. So I've got that taped down. And then I'm just going to take a permanent marker, a fine line permanent marker, and trace this design. And I'm just using one of these little micron pens. Sharpies probably work just as well. I just happen to have this at my quilting table, so that's what I'm going to use. I'm just going to trace this design onto the plastic. Now that I've got one side done, I'll just lift this up and turn it around, and then I'll be able to draw the other one. Same design on the other side of the plastic. Now I have the two designs traced on here. I'll just lift it off my page in the book, put the book aside, and then I'm going to cut these two apart so that I can position them independently in the center square. And I still have the tape on here because I think what I'm going to do is tape it to the quilt top. And then once I've got both of them where I want them, I will pin it. I'll pin the plastic to the quilt top, and I'm going to put a lot of pins in it so that it doesn't move. Now I have it pinned onto my quilt top, and I ended up putting tape around the outside, this transfer tape, because it's not sticky. You could probably use masking tape as well, but that'll hold the sides down. And then I put a bunch of pins in there. So we'll see how it goes as I quilt it, and I may end up taking some out or adding some, or I don't know. But in any case, at this point, it's time to take it over to the machine and give it a go. I'm going to start in this curve on the side here, and I'll put my gloves on. I've got my needle already in my quilt, and I'm pretty much ready to go. So I'll secure my thread here and start stitching and see what happens. So this is looking pretty good. It's still a little bit difficult to stay on the lines, but much better, I think, than if I were using any kind of marking that's on the quilt, mostly because this is very easy to see. The plastic does move around a little bit, but I don't know that there's anything to be done about that. So I'll just continue on around, and I probably am going to be taking pins out as I move along, because at some places along the way they're going to be in the way of my darning foot, and I don't want to have my darning foot inhibited by any pins. Machine quilting is finished. I can just take the rest of my pins out, And then this paper, plastic, is supposed to just like rip right off, which it is. So this is pretty much trash, but it easily rips and actually much nicer than paper. Looks pretty cool. So I'll just go ahead and rip this off. Now the good news is that whatever doesn't easily rip off, this is water soluble. So then all you have to do is put some water on it, and it'll dissolve, I guess. And once it's off, then you've got your quilting design that's on your quilt. Pretty cool.